Today we are making small batch cheesy potatoes. They are the perfect side dish for just about any meal. Join me in the kitchen as we make small batch recipes with big taste. Hi, I'm Leanne from YourHomeBasedMom.com, and today's recipe for cheesy potatoes is sometimes called funeral potatoes at our house because it's something that's often served at funerals or large gatherings. But with a small batch version that feeds only 2 to 4 people, you don't have to wait for a large family gathering or a holiday to enjoy them. So my full-size version of this recipe uses a can of cream of chicken soup, and we don't want to open a can of cream of chicken soup just to use a couple tablespoons. So we're going to make a substitute or kind of make our own cream of chicken soup, even though there's no chicken in this. So I have melted in my pan 2 tablespoons of butter, okay? And then I am going to turn this up a little bit, okay? And add in a tablespoon and a half of flour. So we're basically making a roux or a thickener for our potatoes. We just want to stir that around till it gets nice and smooth and bubbly. All right, so after the butter is melted and bubbly, we're going to take 1/3 cup of milk. I'm just using what I had in my fridge, some fat-free milk. Let me switch hands here. And we're just going to whisk that in until we get a nice, smooth consistency. We'll just cook that for a minute to let it thicken up a little bit. Now, if you wanted more of a chicken flavor, which I don't really think you need in this dish, you could always use chicken broth instead of milk. All right. It's starting to thicken up. You see that? Take it off the heat. We're ready to assemble our potatoes. Now, I've got that roux we made in my bowl. Now, if you happen to have some cream of chicken soup laying around you want to use, go ahead and use it. You'll need about 1/3 cup. And one of the other things I love about the recipe, I love a lot of things about this recipe, but it uses frozen hash browns. So it makes it super quick and super easy. And you can just put them in frozen or thawed, whatever you want. This is about 2 cups. And you could use the shredded potato. I prefer to use the diced. So we're going to add that in. We're going to add in about 1/4 cup of onion. Now this is just chopped onion. You could use dried minced onion if you want. If you're going to do that, add in about 1 tablespoon of that. We're going to add in 1/4 cup of sour cream. You could also use plain Greek yogurt if that's what you have on hand. I do prefer a full fat sour cream or yogurt. And then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And then about half a teaspoon or so of minced garlic. We're going to give it just a dash of pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then 1/2 cup of grated cheddar cheese. Now you could use any cheese you like. You could use a pepper jack to give it a little spice, a Colby, even some Swiss cheese if you prefer. So after we got all that in, we're going to add in, I've got about 1 diced green onion here. You could also use chives. I'm going to save just a few to sprinkle on the top, and we'll mix that all up. All right, we're ready to get these in the oven. I am using a little 8x5 baking dish. If you don't have one this size, you could even use a loaf pan. It would work fine. And we're just going to gently, lightly spray with some nonstick cooking spray. And then we will put our potatoes in here. And then we're going to add what I think is the best part of the whole dish, and that is our topping on the top. Now, today we are going to use panko breadcrumbs. You could use regular breadcrumbs. You could use cornflakes. You could use saltine crackers, Ritz crackers, whatever you have got, okay? So we've got that in the dish. So I'm taking about 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs and 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and I'm just going to mix that all together. And then we're going to sprinkle that on top, and it is going to give these potatoes that nice crispy topping. That is so delicious. All right, let's go ahead and we'll just sprinkle those on. And then I saved a few green onions that we're going to put on top because I think it just makes it look a little prettier. All right. I probably could have saved a few more, but oh well. We'll cut a few more and put it on there before we serve it. All right, now it is ready to go into the oven. We're going to put it into a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 40 to 50 minutes, or until it's heated through and it gets nice and bubbly and golden brown around the edges. All right, our cheesy potatoes are ready. They're nice and golden brown around the edges. They are the perfect side dish to serve with just about anything. And the other thing I love about them is that you can mix them all up ahead of time. Cover them with some plastic wrap, some foil, pop them in the refrigerator, and they sit in there for a day or two till you're ready to bake them. They're gooey, they're cheesy, they're the perfect small batch cheesy potatoes.